Hey, so I'm going to be showing you guys how to do intake manifold removal and then also how to change the thermostat on a Volkswagen 2.5 liter. This is a 2008 Jetta. Should be about the same for any of the 2.5 liter 5 cylinders, I think. And I just want to show you, you're going to need some special tools. Okay, so this weird tool that you're going to need a number 6 Allen. But it's gonna have to be able to reach in there, I think about 8.5 inches. Goes in this little hole here, and it's to get the one of the bolts off for the intake manifold. See, it's gonna have to reach about 8.5 inches, and if you have a 3/8 inch socket, it's not going to fit in there. It's going to be too wide. I had to borrow this from my friend. And other special tools you're going to need are a number 8 and a number 10 triple square socket. So these are probably tools that a lot of DIY guys don't have. And then you're also going to need some Torx bits too. You're going to need a number 20, and there might have been another number I need, but I just want to let you know before you start doing this, make sure you get those. You have the triple square and then the really long number 6 1/4 inch Allen key. Just have to remove this cover. The way you do that, just remove the sensor here. Your car might have a sensor here also, or it might have no sensors. So you just remove this sensor, and then this thing, you're just gonna push these 2 tabs in. There's one on each side through those holes there. Disconnect that. You're gonna squeeze this with a pair of pliers to remove that. And then the cover, you can pry it up if you want. I just pulled it up with my hands. I started here, popped it. It just kind of pops up on all the corners, and then it'll just come right off. And then there's the old purge valve located right here, just underneath that cover. And to remove the wiring clip right here, you just push back on that tab there, and then it'll just pull off. And you're just gonna have to squeeze this clamp. And does not want to come off. I'm gonna spray it with some soapy water. Could probably use a little WD-40, might help. Right now it's starting to come off. So there we go. Kind of wedge the screwdriver inside of there. Make sure you get this thing, metal clamp, nice and loose. Yeah, it looks like these actually have these kind of clips that go through there, so I probably did that wrong, but just to show you how it works. By the way, the pump will come off of this just by lifting it up, just like a rubber thing that squeezes onto there. Next, I'm going to remove this sensor. There's a little tab on the end here, just like the other one. I'm removing all these sensors from the fuel rail. You just push down on that right there, and they pull off. A little bit hard to get off. This one, the little push tab, or this one, the little push tab broke off of, so just be careful with them. And when they release, I just want to add, you'll hear it click. So unless you hear it click, it's not fully released yet. Okay, so next we gotta remove these 2 bolts down here, and they are these weird spline drive things. So now we can go ahead and pull this wiring harness up. There's just these little plastic things to hold it in, just pull on it. This thing here, this will be in that hole. I took a screwdriver, wedged it in there, pried this back. Now you should be able to turn it so it goes underneath there. Now you can get this whole thing out of the way, and you can might want to remove the hook. Remove these 2 torque screws there and there holding in the fuel rail. You'll need a little extension, and it's a T20 size. And I would recommend being real careful using a magnet when you pull those off. It's super easy to drop them down there. Now you should be able to just kind of wiggle the fuel rail a little bit. Should be able to just pull it right out. Be kind of gentle with it. You don't want to break anything. And I actually ended up getting my compressed air, and then it's a good idea to plug these holes up. And like, you want to get rid of all this crap so it doesn't fall into the engine when you take the intake. Make sure to wear safety goggles. Next, I'm going to start removing the rest of this wiring harness. Pull up on this here, and there's a similar one right here. Next, I'm pulling this one off. Well, I broke the thing off, but I think you pull it back and then it should just pull right off. Next, I'm going to remove this here. There's this thing here, you push back on it that way, and then it'll pull right off. You disconnect that. Next, we're going to disconnect this one down here, and it looks like you just push back on that part there. Now you can take this and you can kind of squeeze it under this hose here and get it a bit more out of the way. Next, you're definitely going to need, they're called triple square bits, size 8mm. There's 2 of them. You can see the plastic part of the manifold right here. It goes down, and then under on the bottom of this metal thing, there's going to be a bolt on that side, and there's going to be another one. You can see where the plastic goes down, so right underneath there's going to be a second one. And I was able, probably the shorter and smaller the ratchet you use, the better. I use this little ratchet here with this thing that changed it to 3/8 because the socket was 3/8. Okay, so now you can go ahead and remove all the bolts that are holding on the intake manifold. They're number 6 Allen, and there are 2 here, and then you can see all the ones on top here, really easy. And then there's that one down there. You can stick your thing way down there through, and then there's gonna be this one here, and then another one like on the left side that's down there. And when you're trying to get the one on here, when you try to take it back out, you're probably gonna lose your tool since there's a hole on the bottom of it for some stupid reason. So you can, but they'll fall on top of the engine here. You can see that's where my tool went, and I don't know if I got the bolt out all the way or not, but just have a magnet, don't freak out. It's probably gonna fall down there when you're trying to take the tool back out. Those plastic things though, they should just stop on the threads though actually, so probably don't have to worry about losing those unless they're broken, but just be careful not to crack them so they don't fall off. Next, you gotta remove the oil dipstick from the intake. By doing it, you just push down on this rubber thing with a screwdriver. And to get this free of the oil dipstick holder, you're gonna have to remove the dipstick and really pry the shit out of this thing back with like a flathead screwdriver. And it's kind of hard to pry it the last of the way to get it past that lip on the top. But you just have to really just bend it back and pry it. And then hose down here. You're gonna have to take some pliers or whatever, unclamp that, and then pull the hose off. Now you can completely remove it. This is what that looks like. You can use needle nose there. And then I used a flathead to kind of, I just pulled on it really hard and used a flathead near the edge to kind of pry it. And then it popped off. And then just make sure to grab these little gaskets, if they stick to the intake like mine did, and then I'm gonna go ahead, you're gonna wanna put some clean rags or paper towels in there and clean all this crap up. And mine's got a lot of dirt around here, so I don't want that to fall into the engine. Actually, I'm gonna put paper towels there before I pull these off, because it's gonna make dirt and crap fall into the engine. So I took all these seals out and wiped them, sprayed them with some degreaser, wiped them down with paper towels. Same within there. Just I wouldn't use a carb cleaner on like the plastic or the rubber. Gonna degrade it. And then I sprayed a tiny bit of that degreaser there too. I mean, it could probably be better to use carb cleaner on the engine. Just make sure if it's like a liquid degreaser, don't get any water inside those holes. Alright, so your thermostat is located right behind here. It looks like there's just two Torx bolts to hold this on. The thermostat should be right in there. And when I do like thermostats, I don't like to drain the radiator first. What I do is just put an oil catch pan down there. I'm gonna release this hose first and just let as much as the coolant drain down there. You just have to pinch this clip together with a pair of pliers, move it back, and then just. So next you're gonna remove the two screws. There's one here that's easy to get to. They're Torx T30 size. The one down here is a little harder. I used this extension. It's about that length, and then I still had to kind of wedge it in between that stuff. It sort of barely fit in there, but it'll work. If you have like a flex extension or like a flex head, it might be a little bit easier. Right now this should just pop right out. So there's actually two. There's the one around here, and there's the one around the outside of this. So actually put that gasket in first. There's a little groove right here that you're gonna push it in, and then make sure it sits in it all the way around. It's gonna kind of want to pop out at first, and it goes in there that way, so make sure you put it in the right direction. Okay, so when you're putting the coolant back in, you want to put it in this reservoir here apparently, and then yeah, like I'm reusing this old coolant. You can see all the crap that it's catching. I'm just using this paper towel as a filter. And then basically as you pour it in to get this to lower and kind of bleed it, you just grab this big hose, this big radiator hose on the bottom here, and just squeeze it, and you'll hear it like bubble, and then the coolant will lower and then flip the thing. And then just when you first start the car again, just like blast the heat and then make sure the heat works and everything. And as long as like the heat works, there shouldn't be any air bubbles in it. Okay, so I figured this out the hard way. When you're putting the intake back on, I plan on putting the screw through the hole, but the screw got stuck, so I had to take the intake all back off again and all the bolts. And I'm just gonna leave this screw down there. You could probably put it on and get your hand under there maybe, but I'm just gonna leave this one on there when I put the intake on. See, there's like no way you could really get your hand under there to put that in. The bolt is way down there, so just put that one on the manifold before you put the manifold back on the car. And then basically everything else is reverse. Hope that helped you guys out. Leave a like, comment if you have any questions, subscribe. I'll leave a link to the parts in my description at the bottom of the video. And if you buy anything through that eBay link, it'll give me a small commission, so it'll help my channel out. Thanks for watching.